It's the Hill Today on the YouTube channel. Oh, hell yeah.
Alright, so we're going to repaint the rim today. First things first, we got to get it degreased and then get as much of the rust off as we can. And then we can start hitting it with a little bit of some primer to make it easy to take the black. Because we're going to paint it black to match everything else on here. Once this gets all done, should be blacked out pretty cool and really make those blues pop. So that's kind of the goal. So we're going to get into cleaning this real quick and then on to the next step. Alright, we got the valve stem mask there. We're going to go ahead and use the playing card trick here and see if it works, see how much overspray we got. We've got to just get this guy with some primer. And we're going to do 2 coats of primer and then we're going right for color. With the primer I've been using, I've been seeing some cracking. I don't know if you see that, but I've been seeing some cracking with the overcoat paint. So I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I'm going to put some really good black paint on there. Let's get into it. Well, now we got our first level of primer on there. Basically, you know, I gotta tell you, this whole playing deck of cards thing actually works really well. We're gonna let that dry for a second, then we're gonna hit it with a second coat, and then we're gonna go right into color because we're going black, so it doesn't need to be super crazy thick. But we are gonna do some clear coat on this for it to hold up just a little bit. We'll see how the black takes. Well, that's going on and drying. We're gonna go ahead and get started over here on the old battery. There it is. On the old battery cage. I think we got to set up the dry blaster, dry blast it. This thing's it was gonna powder coat it, but instead I'm just gonna paint it because it is hidden for the most part, and I'm not really too worried about it getting nicked up and dinged up. It's gonna happen. Once that actually happens and we go for like the second refurbish on this, then we'll powder coat it. And speaking of that, with the forks and everything, those will be getting redone probably next winter. We're gonna ride it the way it is this year, and then next winter we're gonna rebuild this whole front end, maybe with some custom parts. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm gonna get into dry blasting this guy. So here we go. Okay, we got her blasted up pretty good. Not worried about the backside at all, to be honest with you. You're not even gonna see it. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the first coat of primer on this. We just did the outside of the cage. I got to mask the little piece of rubber right here that the battery sits on, and then we're gonna spray the inside with primer. I don't know if we're gonna do color on the inside, probably not. So yeah, outside of the cage is gonna get done, sprayed nice and blue. It'll look cool. Well, here we are with our first coat of primer there. You know, I mean, just sandblasting it really does the job. You know, the parts, I sandblasted mainly the parts that you're gonna see. So that really does the job when it comes to painting things. Most of the stuff isn't gonna be seen, so I didn't really care a horrible lot about the finish of it. But the parts that you are gonna see are gonna look very good. Our tire has had its second coat, so that is about ready for black. We're gonna let that dry really good, and then we're gonna spray her down. So yep, we'll go ahead and let this dry. And you know, I think I'm going right in with the blue. The primer pretty much covered everything I needed it to. So yep, we'll go right into it. As we're waiting for the paint to start to dry over there, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the front fender. Now, as you've seen in previous videos, I've been doing the heat gun trick. And it seems to work very good. If you look at it from this side, you can see half of it has been heat gunned and then half of it hasn't. So we're going to go through, we're going to clean it all up, and we're going to heat gun everything, clean it all up nice and new, so that way we can get it ready to go back on once we get the front tire done. And yeah, we're going to try to make it look as good as it can. I mean, it is an old ATV or old three-wheeler, so it's going to take some work. Some spots are still shiny, most aren't. So yep, we're gonna get into it. Well, we got our first coat of black going on, first coat of blue going on. Things are looking pretty sweet. Gonna have to let these dry, and like I said, while those are drying, we're gonna work on the front fender. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. That looks pretty sweet. I gotta see what it looks like when it dries, and then we still gotta do the other side too. But this is just going to get another coat, and we should be pretty close to done with that. And we'll let her cure, and then we'll put her back on the machine. See what she looks like. Well, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and paint the hub. I got some toweling off to do on it, some masking to do because we don't want to get our brake rotor. Yeah, I just figured, you know, we can't shove this thing back in all that beautifulness. So we're going to go ahead and paint this hub. I think I'm going to do it yellow. Just why not, right? Well, we have her all set up, and we're going to go ahead and hit it with some primer here real quick. I'm not too worried about the threads. Actually, I might tape those. I'm going to go ahead and tape these, and then I'm going to hit it with some primer, and then we're going yellow. We've got a couple coats on the old wheel hub now. She's starting to look all right. Starting to fill in some of the gaps. We're going to have to do some trickiness on this to get it fully covered. So once this dries, I'm gonna have to flip it and then repaint it. But once that's all done, we'll hit it with some clear. It should be good for a while. Well, that's drying, and the other parts are drying. We're gonna go ahead and tear all this back open and start reassembling some of the parts that got powder coated in last video. So yeah, I'm gonna put you on a tripod and get to it. All right, got a couple of the covers back on. Man, they look cool on there. I sure do. They definitely show how dirty the rest of it is, though. I've always wanted to do that proper to pull start case cover. And I did it this time, and it looks good. We're still waiting for that to dry. We got some polishing to do here. We've got the battery box to put back on. I want to clean all this up first. And then we'll put the battery box back on. And we're just moving through it. Eventually, we're going to have to deal with this air box, which isn't going to be any fun because I am having trouble finding a part for it. So, but that might be for another video. We'll see. Anyway, those things look pretty sweet, don't they? We've started reassembling a bunch of stuff here. We got our pull start on, looking good. Timing cover looking good. Our battery in, brand new battery for it. Our battery compartment. We went through and kind of polished up a little bit of things. You know, all in all, she's really starting to come together. I can't wait to see it with the body on there. We do have to deal with the tires. Tires are going to be an issue. I don't know what to do with that yet. But all in all, this thing is starting to look pretty good. This cap is still being painted. Got our pipe on, new brake cover, shock cover, new battery. I mean, she's coming together. So yeah, moving on to the next thing. out of these three things here, I'm going to make a temporary air filter for the machine. This is the carb tube that goes to the air box. This is your standard Chinese air filter that we have laying around. Need a piece of steel for the air filter to go on, so that way I can put it on the inside of that and clamp it down. And then we can bring it in and put it on this guy for an angle to put the air filter right about here. Which I'll do just for testing purposes. I have got to really look at what's going on with the air box. As we've seen in previous videos, it's not in the best shape, but it will be going back on there because this is key, because this keeps the water out of the motor and all that such jazz. So what we might be trying to rig up is a way to get that air filter on the inside of this and do away with the original Yamaha air filter, just so that way we can save a little bit of money. We'll see. We got to have it breathing right though, so we're going to go ahead and do this. That way we can at least start it and start working on it. Maybe go for a ride. Oh, well, there it is. Homemade air filter. So we're going to put that bad guy in there, and then we should be able to run it. I'm going to come up with some kind of bracket so I can bracket this thing so it doesn't bounce around. But that's going to do us for a little while until we get the airbox done. Once we get the airbox done, it's definitely going back on because this thing needs the airbox on it. So anyway, we're going to get to putting that on, and I'll bring you back shortly. Real quick, I just want to show you how good this thing turns over with the real battery. Being as we tried it the other day with a really crappy battery, I want to try it with a really good battery and show you how good it sounds. It sounds really good turning over. Now, it's not going to fire because there's no gas in the carburetor. But yeah, I think we got her. So, moving on. Well, to end off this video, I just want to say, things are coming together on this. A little bit of hard work goes a long way. This thing's going to be a ripper next summer. We still got quite a bit to do. But at this point, everything else is pretty good. We got to do an oil change on it. We got to button up the brakes. And then we got to handle the tires and finish off the plastic. And then I got another surprise coming up here. But that's for another video. I hope you guys have a good and safe one. We'll see you in the next one.
Yo, Billy,
oh, hell yeah! Oh, hell yeah!
oh, hell yeah!
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh, yeah, hell yeah!